Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Not a Nail Tech on the Neo Nails channel. Today I'm starting off with black Sapote and this is just going to be our base colour. And for today's inspiration I'm actually using a coat, and I'm going to put a picture up on the screen for you now so you can see what that looks like. A coat that I own which is Camouflage with these jeweled bugs and studs, and it's a little bit edgy and a little bit cool, and I've had it for quite a few years and I absolutely love it. And I was trying to think of what would I like my nails to look like this time, and I've never really done my nails in a camouflage print, and I thought it would look really cool actually. So I had a look online, got some inspiration, and decided I didn't want a really graphic camouflage print like you kind of expect. I wanted it to be a little bit more watercolour inspired. So I'm going to be using blooming gel a lot, layering up a lot of colours and just trying out, see what works, because I've not done this before, and as you know I'm not a nail tech and I just want to try things out and have a lot of fun. I thought I'd use black Sapote because it's one of our jelly polishes and it's a little bit sheer, and I didn't want anything super heavy to go underneath all of the other colours that I'm going to blend in with it. Next I'm just going to be taking Primrose and I'm going to be putting on a layer of blooming gel before we use that, and hopefully this will just spread and create some nice textures and layers. So I'm just making sure I only put a very thin coat of blooming gel on because that's the way it seems to work best, and then I'll be taking Primrose on a gel brush and just kind of dotting that on in kind of really random patterns, hoping it spreads into what looks like a little bit of a camouflage pattern. Remember, you don't need to cure in between your layer of blooming gel and the next colour that you're adding into it, otherwise it won't blend. I'm really pleased with how that's actually starting to blend in with the blooming gel and spread around on the nail, so hopefully all of the other colours will blend in nicely too. And if you're wondering, I actually started off with a coat of Bed of Roses in our Builder gel just to give my nails some strength, because these are my natural nails, so just layers of gel polish might not give it enough strength for them to last for a while. I've just cured that for 60 seconds and I'm going back in with a thin coat of blooming gel and adding Midori into the gaps over the black Sapote. So today is going to be a slower video, a bit more of a relaxed video, so hopefully you guys are in a relaxed, chilled mood, and that's what you're after today, because it might be a bit of a longer one with this being a full set of nails. And once I've gone in with the Midori and I'm happy with how it's bloomed, I'm just going to pop that back in the lamp for another 60 seconds to cure. Just going back in with blooming gel just with another thin coat before we add our next colour. And that colour is, drumroll please, Crisp Sage. And if you're looking for a colour that works really well with the Midori and is a little bit lighter, Crisp Sage will do that for you. So with the Crisp Sage, I am actually layering that over the other colours on the nail in the hope that you can still see some of them through it. And I'm just going to pop that back in the lamp for 60 seconds. And for the final layer of blooming gel, I'm going back in with black Sapote. You could use Serious Black, but I kind of wanted it to have more of a sheer look than Serious Black would. And I'm just going to be going in and adding some depth back into the nail where the other colours have brightened it up. This style of nail art is really easy if you are new to nail art, if you don't have a very steady hand, or if you're doing your opposite hand and you're not super confident that you're going to be able to match on the other hand. So this is why I tend to do this kind of style, abstract style of nail art, just because I do find it a lot easier. And once I'm happy with that again, I'm just going to cure it for 60 seconds like I had before. I'm just going to go in with some top coat over those nails just to seal it all in, and then I'll cure it again for 60 seconds. So next up, I'm going back in with black Sapote, and I'm going to be doing a French design on the ring finger and the index finger. And I'm just going to be doing exactly what I've done earlier, but we're doing this in a French tip design. So I'm just going to take my time and try and get the shape of the smile line right before I do anything else, just using a long, fine detail brush, and hopefully I can get it all smoothed out. And once I've done this, I'm probably going to go in with a gel brush with black Sapote on to fill in the rest. Once I've cured that for 60 seconds, I'm just going to go back in with the second coat and cure that for 60 seconds again. I'm going on to the ring finger now and just doing exactly the same thing, trying to get that shape nice and smooth, just so we can go back in and add all the other colours on top. If you have any tips or tricks on how you do your smile line and how you get it to look even and symmetrical, I'd love to hear how you do it down in the comments below, and maybe you can teach me some more tricks on how I can be doing better. Once that's filled in, I'm just going to pop that in the lamp for 60 seconds and go in with the second coat. Now that's cured, I'm just going to go in with blooming gel like we have done before and put a thin layer of that on before I go in with Primrose, and I'm just going to try and be as neat as possible with this. I'm going to cure that for 60 seconds, and for the next layer we're going in with Midori again. Once I'm happy with that, I'm going to pop that back into cure before I go in with a layer of blooming gel again and crisp sage. For the final layer, I'm going back in with blooming gel and black Sapote just to add that depth back in. I'm trying really hard to only put thin layers on because I know I'm putting quite a lot of layers of polish onto my nail and I don't want them to end up way too thick that I can't use them. Once I've cured them, I'm just going to go in with some top coat and seal them all in before I cure them again. So I'm going to be trying to create some of the jeweled bugs like were on my jacket that you saw earlier. So I'm going to be using Bed of Roses again, because it doesn't really matter what colour it is, as I'm going to be painting over the top of it. And I'm just going to be building up some layers of that in the middle and popping some gems in because I want the bugs to have jeweled sections on them. I will be flash curing these in between sections because I don't want the builder gel to slip and slide around on my nail. So I'm just going to layer this up and build it up until I'm happy with the shape that I've got. And I'll also be adding in some little legs for the little bugs. So I'm going to be using Serious Black just to go over the bug, and this was probably the trickiest part of the nails because I was trying to paint over a 3D part on the nail, which can be a little bit awkward. But I did get there eventually with a little bit of difficulty. Just going to go in and give this little guy some legs, and do not judge how many legs these bugs have because I haven't decided what kind of bugs they are, whether they're ants, whether they're spiders, whether they have 4 legs, whether they have 45 legs. They're just getting as many legs as looks correct to me. I'm also going to go in and just give them some little fangs too, just for fun. Next I'm going in with one of our chrome pens, and I'm just going to go over the top of that for it to stick to the Serious Black. Just want to dust off the excess on there, and then I realised that I hadn't done a very good job of it, so I actually went back in and did it again. So next I'm going in and I'm actually lining the smile line again because I'm going to be adding chrome to this. I didn't decide at the beginning that I wanted to do this. I thought I'd just see how it looked and add in the sections as I saw necessary. Just going back in with the same chrome pen and adding that to the top, and I think it's finished it off quite nicely, to be honest. I'm just going to go in and do exactly the same thing on the ring finger, but don't forget you need to cure your gel polish before you go in with the chrome pen, otherwise you'll just have a really sticky mess. There we go, just adding some chrome onto that, and as you can see it looks very pretty. After I've dusted that all off, I'm actually going to go in with some of our metal decals. So these are going to be like the studs that are on the jacket, and I'm just using our builder gel to do that because it'll give it a nice little base to stick into. So I'm just going to be creating another little bug on the ring finger just to balance out the nail. I actually realised it was much easier to do this with a dotting tool than it was with a brush, and then I could just finish it off with a little brush at the end. I wish I'd realised this before I did the first bug, but at least I know now. Just going in and adding some random legs again, just seeing what looks good. Just adding some little fangs in again, and once that's cured I'm going back in with the chrome pen just to make it all gold. So if the chrome pen does by any chance stick to anything else, you can go in with some gel residue remover solution and on a little brush, and that'll help you get that all off. So I thought the middle finger looked like it needed some gold as well, but I didn't want to add it in a French design because it didn't look quite right. So I decided to go back in with Serious Black and just add in a semicircle, and then I'm just going to add in a filled in semicircle just above that too. Once I'm happy with that, I'm just going to cure it and add in the chrome pen again. I'm just tidying up the edges there where it's stuck a little bit. It would have been a good idea for me to buff the nail and give it a little bit of a rougher surface, and the chrome pen wouldn't have stuck to it, but I didn't do that, so we have to do a bit of cleanup. So I'm just going in with Bed of Roses, and I'm actually going to be adding in another stud like I did on the other finger, just to balance the whole nail set out. Finally, I'm just going in with some top coat over all of the nails to seal in everything we've done. And when you're using chrome, I would suggest using 2 layers of top coat because chrome is much more delicate and can wear off a bit easier. So when you're doing any 3D elements, make sure you get the top coat right in there in all the nooks and crannies, especially when you're using chrome, because you don't want it to rub off. And there we have it, the finished nail look. Let me know what you think down in the comments, and if you want any of the products being used today, there'll be an easy ordering link for you to find them there. See you later.